Okay, so apologies, the sound quality was pretty bad on the first run through. So I'm gonna run this thing through one more time. Obviously, I've tested a few times, but this should give you a gist of what we're looking at when we launch this contract. Um, Now, oops, 1 second. Robstein was the old one I did. So I actually ran this on 2 test networks just to make sure. Robstein was actually moving pretty slow when it comes to testing on seeing it uploaded on like OpenSea and stuff like this. So RinkB is a little bit faster, even though it's hard to get test Ethereum for it. But anyway, so we've got this contract deployed. Contract's verified. You can see with this little green check mark, and our contract is all uploaded here. So you're able to see right now, okay, this is the royalty recipient. You can see the price, see the max supply, basically all that, right? Um, so what you're gonna do next is verify a few things with this read contract button. Now the read contract button just makes calls to the contract. So it's not charging you anything to check. So I ran this already. I think I minted 3. So you can see a count of the amount of tokens that were minted at all times. I'm also going to show you really quick how you can check who owns what. You can check based on token ID, where it's located. I'm going to show you where to locate these NFTs after they're minted. So the very first thing you're going to want to do, address minted balance. So some of these, to be completely honest, are a bit redundant because some of the ERC tokens that we use, they have overlapping functions. So they all work, but just know I think there's address minted, and then you can also there's a built-in function somewhere called owner of. Yeah, owner of does pretty much the same thing. I think owner of is a little bit different though, actually, because you can look by token ID. But type this in. You can see I minted 3. I minted all 3. You can check the base URI. This should look familiar to you. Um, Calculate royalty. Very important. You can't calculate royalty in decimals. You have to convert everything to Wei. When I get to how you can change the price of the contract if you need to, I'm going to show you. There's a website that I have up. It's ethconverter.com. You're going to want to remember this if you ever want to change the price or if you want to calculate royalties. So what that does, if we scroll up, what else can we check that's important? Get whitelisted user addresses. So you can just call this function. And as you can see for the RinkB network, I didn't actually whitelist any because I just checked. I wanted to check some of the ownership functions, or I wanted to check the royalties on OpenSea and Rarible. That's actually, well, anyway, here is where you would check everyone that you whitelisted. Now, there's a function where it will allow you to, it's called whitelist users, where you're able to set the whitelisted users. It's really easy. You just add an array to it, and that's all there is to it. Is whitelisted. You can check to see if a user is whitelisted. Only whitelisted is going to start off as true. Now, you did mention that you only want to sell these to people on your whitelist. However, let's say down the road, you're not going to want to deploy a whole new contract. So let's say you do want to go public. I'm going to show you how to toggle that off so you can set it to public if you want. Same thing for basically everything in this contract. You can set new values. You can set new mint amounts. You can set, yeah, basically everything. Price. Remember, I did change the price because I needed to make it cheaper. I don't have that much test Ethereum. Um, but the actual, if you remember, the actual price in the contract will show this. And I just set it differently with some tests Ethereum, so you don't have to worry about that. Okay, next, check the owner. I'm gonna show you how how I transfer ownership from my contract to yours. That's very simple too. Paused, very very important. When you launch this contract, pause is going to be set automatically to true. So before you sell these, basically, I'm assuming that tomorrow you're not going to launch your NFT campaign. I could be wrong. But basically, what you want now is you want to start it off where it's completely paused, nothing's being minted. This is set to false. So before you instruct anyone to buy your NFTs, even if they're on the whitelist. Even if they're on the whitelist, if this is set to true, they will not be able to buy, and MetaMask will come up with an error. So you're going to want to make sure to set this to false. Royalty address, that should match the one that you gave me. Royalty in basis points, this equals 6%. Royalty info, you can check based on the ID, but the royalty info doesn't change because I hard coded it. Royalty recipient is set equal to royalty address. Now, token by index is going to be very very important, because basically, if you don't, like, I'm not expecting all of the people who are going to be buying NFTs from you to understand how much of this works, right? But it's enough for you to understand that if I have my token ID, and let's say token ID 3, and I think that's the last one that I did, token ID 3. Actually, because I have this example up, let's do token ID 2. If you have the token ID, this is what you use to find where your image is being hosted. So I'm going to show you that now. What you would do is you copy and you paste this string here, and you're going to paste it to the end of this. It's ipfs.io/ipfs/ and then what you copied and pasted. And you see all the metadata here. This is what we uploaded, and this is what was generated. You can see the color. You can see who the fee recipient is. You can see the basis points for the royalties. This is what a site like Rarible uses to know, basically, I've got it pulled up here, but basically who the creator is and who gets the royalties, so you can see it here. More on that later, because not all marketplaces allow for this. Royalties is something that if you're going to sell it on a secondary market, you don't always get to dictate if it's going to respect your royalty rate. The reason for it is for a place like OpenSea, they allow you to mint directly to their site. They allow you to upload directly to their site, I think. And basically, they want the person minting to have control of the royalties because they're essentially paying them. They're paying them a lot. You know, like if they're taking like 2.5% per sale, God knows what they're taking for every mint, but they allow the person who mints to actually set the royalties. Rarible does not. So if there was ever a time to just really be team Rarible, I'd say now's the time because they allow you to set the royalties hard coded into your contract. Okay. Now let's go ahead and, well, let me go back here. So This is where your image is hosted, right? So exact same way, you're going to take this string and you're going to plug it into this part, and you see gold comes up. So it's all set there. Um, okay, now might as well segue into it now, but hopefully I can make this make sense. What happens when you a, mint an NFT? Basically, an NFT is a token. That's literally what it is. So if you had any type of token that was fungible, it shows up in your wallet. It shows up, like so, in your assets, right? But as you can see, NFTs do not, right? You're not going to see a bunch of images in your wallet, even though they're there. So what OpenSea is when you, I'm going to log out just so you can see. So I logged out. So basically when you jump into OpenSea, you have to connect you have to connect your wallet. And what you're looking at, so it has my address. What you're looking at is everything that you minted. So all your collections, and it shows up here. It doesn't show up until, like, this is basically just a representation of what's in your wallet for the images. OpenSea is for the images. Your regular wallet is just for the regular fungible tokens. That's how you can describe it. Now that you're on OpenSea, you can choose what to do with it. You can choose to sell it. You can choose to do, whatever you want with it. Um, and that's basically how you would do it. You can search once you connect. You can search. Hopefully this is mine. Yeah, you can search it once it's on OpenSea, right? And it's very important to note that nothing, like the tokens that weren't minted, don't show up. Okay, so like when you saw me searching, you can only see like the ones that were minted. 1, 2, and 3. I only did 3. Right? So that's basically all that is. Okay? So moving on. How about if a person doesn't know what their token ID is? And in my opinion, really, how would they? Like, I know my token ID is 2 or 3 because I know I was among the first to do it, and I can just look it up. There are many ways that you can look up your ID. Um, let's see. Oh, I had passed it way by. Okay, so first one is token by index. Okay, what would be your first index? It's always position 0. Query that and see what comes up. This gives you your token URI. So you can take this and you can put it in here, and it will show up 1 at index 1. You see 2, and then you can see, like, once you get the token URI, you can see who the owner of it is based on URI. Owner of is up here. So with that token ID, I can take 2. And the reason why is this one. This is actually my other address. This is the one that I tested to sell it. So I guess a better example would be 1. Did I sell that one too? Owner of 3. Okay, I sold 2 as a test. But here you go. I kept 3. So that's how you would do that. Token of owner by index. I can take the address. Once I have the, just ask it like, okay, what's the first token that I have? 3. Okay. Now if I put in 1, I should see error. Yep. That should make sense. So I only own 1 right now because for the test I sold 2. So at index 1, it's out of bounds. Index 0. So basically, what I'm getting at and what you can instruct your basically your fans, your consumers, your subscribers. Basically, you would tell them if you want to ever look up your ID, like if you're curious, this is how you would do it. Put in your index. Put in your um, address, and then just say, okay, how many tokens did I buy? The first one is going to show up at index 0, and you're just going to go right on down the line. Maybe my internet went out, but we'll move on for now. Total supply is the same as the all tokens function. Like I said, there are some redundancies because every variable you can call, every public variable you are able to see. So all tokens is a public variable, but there's also a function in the contract total supply. It's not going to hurt anything, especially because it's a call function. And then whitelisted addresses. Um, Whitelisted addresses is also a redundancy. I had to make just know that there are a few functions that I overrode just because the ones that I designed worked a little bit better, or at least make a little bit more sense to me. So don't use 30 whitelisted addresses. Use get whitelisted user addresses. This is the one that I made. And you see that it's showing you the array. Okay, now just to wrap this up, I know we're going a little bit long. Your write contract function. So first you have to make sure you're connected to do anything. Again, there are some redundancies. I'm going to show you the most important ones, right? Your mint. Now this one is slightly different than, so pay attention to the amount. You see payable amount. This is actually a built-in function where it allows you to use decimals. Because this is an ERC, this was the ERC 721 standard, I didn't change anything for it. So that's why this is, I think, the only one that takes decimals. Everything else, if you want to change the price, you have to make sure you convert it to way. Okay? But you'll be able to see it. It'll say Ether right there, right? So that's when, so the contract right now, usually it would be 0.2. So when we deploy it, it will say exactly what's in the contract. I set it for test purposes lower, but this is where you would change the price. So if I wanted to, let's say I'm going to go ahead and change it back, just so you see. So Ether, I want it to be 0.2, 0.2. This is what I would put in, right? My apologies. I'm in the middle of a thunderstorm right now, if you can hear it. Let's see if I can refresh and see if it stopped going so slow. Because typically your MetaMask is supposed to pop up. Oh, there it is. There it is. Okay. Yeah, it was just dragging. So set price is there. Confirm. What's this one? Oh, because I tried it twice. Hopefully I said it to the right thing. Okay, just in case. So transaction confirmed. Price has changed, right? So that's as simple as that. Now, obviously, this is a test contract. You just have to be mindful of when you're in the right contract portion, make extra sure of what you're planning on doing because it will cost you money at this point. So now that everything is fixed and set up, you'll be ready to go. I remember I mentioned. Remember I mentioned this is where you would set only whitelisted if you ever set it to public. Set public. That's pretty simple. You just hit the button. Your transfer ownership. This is what I'll do. Like pretty much ASAP. Like if you are comfortable with what you see, I type in your address, I write it, and then I'm no longer the owner. Okay. And you'll be able to see that. You'll be able to see that with this read function owner updated. It'll be updated to yours. So it's very, very easy. Full disclosure, renounce ownership comes built in. I've never used it. I wouldn't recommend it to be completely honest, because I don't know what I don't know what happens at that point. That's a little scary to me. But it's there. So if you ever come up with a scenario where you absolutely have to unpause, very important here. You are going to have to, once this is launched, remember to unpause it when you are ready to start selling those NFTs. And then whitelist users, as you can see, these little brackets here are arrays, right? So you don't have to just put in. Oops, I thought I had a address pasted, but you don't have to just put in like one or do it one by one. You can literally put in brackets 0x yada 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 yada, comma 0x yada yada yada. It'll just be an array, right? And you can add everybody at once. Super, super easy. Okay. And then the last thing, obviously, you're going to want to know how to withdraw. Okay. So, real quick, there was actually something that I didn't even know, and it was kind of weird to me. So, Etherscan, if you have a function that is set to payable. Now, this isn't the case in most cases. Like, if I were to deploy this in Remix, which I did, I tested this on a lot of different platforms. But if I tested this on Remix, you see that the withdraw function, it's payable. That's what that red button means. When I hit the button, um, the transaction is it goes through. It does cost gas because it's state changing, but you see in this case there's zero value. The value is zero away. So what you're gonna do? This is so funny. So it's not gonna allow you to just in Etherscan just hit right like you normally would for pretty much everywhere else. So I'm connected. What I'm gonna do instead, just to show you, I'm gonna reject that, and I'm literally gonna be like 0. Just do 0. Put any value in there. So it's just asking you, like Etherscan, because it's a payable function, just like the Mint one, it's expecting because it's built in. Um, it's expecting some type of value, even if you don't actually need one. And as you can see here, um, you are not paying anything and it's just the withdrawal. You're just doing the withdrawal, and obviously it's costing you gas. Let's go ahead and do that. So you see there are 0.03 in there. Let's see what my wallet looks like. Come on, faster, faster, faster. Okay, so let's see if it changes. It changed. Okay, perfect. So we see that the withdraw function works perfect and it goes to 0 ether. All right. So that's basically it. Hopefully everything that I explained was pretty clear. But for the most part, I'm super excited. I really got a chance to get just I don't know. I don't know what to say. I'm pretty passionate about this thing. I almost feel like I'm kind of part of your project now, and I just wish it the best success. You guys are going to do wonderful things for the art community. So hopefully this helped out, and I'm always available to jump on a call with you if you need me. But yeah.